I think that's an untapped source, whether it's special events or whether it's just understanding. I mean, there's a lot of people that are intimidated even using our system. So I want to get out and educate people. I want to make it simple.
Well, we'll get like one more question or two more questions if there's a passion, but I want to throw in a commercial for a minute. Justin has produced a white paper with a colleague of his on improving the Coast Starlight. And it's a 20-page report. It's available online, and we had some printed copies of it.
5 copies if you would like to read it now.
Give one to John, so at least
I'm
there's
not
4
going to promise
copies.
you I'm going to read it now.
No, don't read it now. But the whole point is that, you know, there's constant incidences, like there was some sort of strawberry festival a week or two ago,
Yep.
where Amtrak couldn't carry the capacity, and we had 20 cars sitting up between Montalvo and Moore Park not being utilized. And there's never been any reaching out across to Joe Yanuzzi or anybody to use the trains or the train sets, and always excuse, well, we don't have food on the cars. It's like, well, guys, you know, people really wanted the transportation. They weren't going for 3 and 4 hours to get up to Moore Park to the Strawberry Festival. They just wanted a train, and they didn't want to be turned away. So that's, you know, one of the examples of some of the, and another thing, Friday nights. The trains coming from San Diego or up there, a lot of them are sold out. We got the troops, we got the sports fans and all of a sudden Metrolink, sometimes on the weekends, we've got train sets sitting at Oceanside and everything else, and it's the same kind of thing. You could sell 500 more tickets if the Metrolink equipment was adequately worked.
Well, just remember one thing.
in.
None of our trains pay for themselves.
Exactly.
And the way that I get more train starts is to have a bigger budget to authorize train starts. And I think the public benefit, it's up to us to prove the public benefit why we should have additional train starts. And I would have loved to provided service to the Strawberry Festival, but unfortunately I had no money in the budget to do that. But if it's an annual event, it's an annual problem, then we should figure out how we get trains budgeted to run during that time period. If there's particular events, you know,
There's the NASCAR race that they cut Metrolink out. It's like it's like an absolute crazy thing, because the guy that took over hadn't. And I have a feeling you're going to pay a sales call over there, and the trains will return again. But
Take you for a ride around the track.
Will you?
In a hot car.
I used to, when I used to actually manage the Daytona Speedway when I was with Waste Management. That was part of it. Now, you talk about an interesting ordeal. If anybody's been to Daytona, it's a 3-week event, and the infield is rowdy at best, you know. I mean, that's
A beer
mild.
commercial.
I've seen it on TV, but that's all.
Well, I tell you what, NASCAR is a interesting. Just go sit and watch. Is all I tell. Not the race, just watch the people. So it's a fun thing to go do.
Bradley.
I'm not a frequent Metrolink rider, but the few times that I have.
So why are you here? What's your problem? You try to,
Because
I'm reformed or something. So.
I know the few times that I have, you know, 'cause I don't live in an area where Metrolink's general services, so when I get to Union Station, one of the things that I notice is that up on the boards there it says in track 7, but you know I get to track 7 and it's a platform in the middle and there's 2 trains inside, and I'm like, is that train 7A or 7B, and which one's A and which one's B? You know, I don't know if this problem's been fixed, but that's kind of one of the things that, like, I get really confused when I'm just trying to figure out what train am I supposed to take. You know.
Wayfinder.
There's a
Yeah.
guy in the middle that directs you.
No, that
Not
his
always.
question's
On the
totally
next platform.
a problem with Wayfinder.
Yeah.
Well, these are all things that, as
Which
we
ramp
start
you
to
go up.
address, I mean, you know, some of our communication boards are antiquated. We need to have them upgraded so we can put better messaging up there. I'm looking at every aspect: how you get tickets, how you validate tickets, how you get to your train. Every touch point with the customer, we're looking at. And when you see those kinds of discrepancies, you know,
Think about the tickets.
we'll look at it and figure out how we
No,
how
not
we
now.
fix
We're
it,
gonna-
because that's what it's about.
We're down to the last question, so you're going to get Stephen, and then you're the last question.
Hey, Stephen Box, I'm a bike activist here in LA area. And one thing with regards to transportation systems is we often experience cyclists and their bikes as being that small niche group that are bringing something unwieldy and irritating, a bicycle, without considering the fact that it's a gap connector. It allows them to become more efficient participants in the transportation system. So you spoke of connecting with travel agencies, and I just wanted to toss out there, it'd also be a great thing if we could connect with the bike activists, because it's kind of the yin and the yang, if you will, of the transportation system, the hugest, and then of course the most vulnerable modes of transportation, if you will. But I think that sometimes in the spirit of connectivity, our modes are disconnected. So rail, you know, and then the road, and then of course you've got the active transportation off to the side. So for what it's worth, you mentioned a user group that advises you. It'd be awesome if we could have the cycling community incorporated in there somewhere
I hear you.
into the mix.
I think that'd be good.
Okay, the meeting's gonna go on, but Barry's gonna get the last question.
It's not a question, it's just a comment to what he said about a suggestion. I was up in San Jose recently, and right on the platform, there was a big sign, and it says assistant area. And assistance,
Oh, okay.
and it's a big sign, and they have like a red square there. And the reason why I realized it was there is because I just happened to go up on the platform, and I was standing there, and the conductor came up to me, is there something I can help you with? And I think that would be helpful at Union Station if they had something like that.
I think they do have people
Sort of.
there.
I got the blue coats.
Yeah. But like once I get to my train, I'm like, which left, right. Yeah.
Well, if John wants to stick around, we get about maybe 15 minutes of meeting. If John wants to stick around, if you want to, if you need to go back to the
I'm
hotel.
gonna actually take off.
Not a
so
problem.
I appreciate the chance.
Let's give John a big
I
hand.
assume one day you'll invite me back. Thank you, everybody.
John, I look forward to the day, perhaps as a charity event, you have the Union Station. You can stop by and visit the Bus Riders Union. They're fasting on the corner at Alvera Street, and they're upset that the fares are going up by a quarter. And so they've taken it seriously enough to be fasting. So if you're wondering about that, you can visit them on your way back over to the train station.
Why spoil my meal?
Just hang on. Metro has pretty much trimmed its budget this year and is working on all sorts of issues in budget, but they come up finally with a balanced budget that they're going to be passing, I believe, this Thursday. In addition to that, the Regional Connector is supposed to go to the board in June. The state budget finally got resolved with the governor's budget about a week ago, where the transit agencies finally got some money out of the state diesel tax, and the transit agencies get about $350 million instead of roughly $1 billion that they were getting. So they didn't get zeroed out this year, and the governor and the legislature came to some sort of agreement. It's not perfect, but then in November there's going to be an initiative on the ballot, which we circulated the petition